How to avoid the video game crash from 1983. Just imagine, video games, gone. The sense of adventure, gone. The superhero you always wanted to be, gone. This is what people thought was going to happen back in 1983. They say that history tends to repeat itself, so it's time to break out those history books and start learning about the video game crash from 1983. Now pay attention, since this might be the only history lesson you are interested in learning. In early 1983, there was a bit of crisis involving the game industry within North America. The industry completely crashed and burned, and many economists believed it was the end of the video game industry forever. While the industry was still in its infancy as compared to the industry of today, it was still a force to be reckoned with, commanding $3.2 billion in revenue. At the start of 1983, the industry completely collapsed by 1985. The industry's revenue dropped down to roughly $100 million. That means it lost over $3.1 billion in less than 2 years. In case you're not very good with numbers, that's around 96.87% loss. I think that pretty much puts the big red KO sign to any company. This only happened for one reason and for one reason only. The developers were making games at alarming rates and really didn't care about the quality of the games, and consumers started to notice. And they decided to show it with their money. Some people believe that it's happening again, and I want to offer some ideas on how we can avoid the crash. Number one, have backwards capability. Now, I really don't need to explain this since it's pretty self-explanatory, but you can't really buy a system, and have a library of games to support it. With this feature, you make more money, in a sense. Since some people can't afford new games that just came out, people might be obligated to buy older and cheaper games. You might be thinking, well, this is a pretty obvious feature, but with the newly announced PlayStation 4, it is said that you can't play any of the PlayStation 3 games, according to clevernoob.com. Really, it's fine by me, but it's not such a big deal, but it bothers me about the rumors regarding the PlayStation 4 won't be able to play any used games. That means no more GameStop, no more GameFly, and no other businesses that you sell used games. The interview to the president of Sony, according to CleverNoob, somebody said, okay, so used games will be allowed on the PlayStation 4. How's that? That right there just seems fine and dandy, but the way he said it sounded unnerving. Why couldn't he just say a simple yeah? The second way the video game industry can prevent another crash is taking your time. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard the infamous Mass Effect 3 ending and how much it stunk, but I'm not here to talk about that. The EA, the publisher of Mass Effect 3, sped up the process of Mass Effect, therefore giving Mass Effect 3 that horrible ending. EA also has some problems of its own with its famous FIFA series. There has been a conspiracy between FIFA 2012 and 2013 that turned out to be true, with just being a copy of FIFA 2012. EA is devastated now, and it's on its last stand by publishing the game SimCity, which has turned out to have the servers have not been working. The final piece of advice I can give is pretty obvious, but it needs to be recognized. Stop making bad games. This pretty much wraps my whole two main points together. Don't rush games and try to have some backwards capability on your new console. The main reason why I say this is because the game industry was the fastest growing industry of all time. The video game E.T. was the most infamous game of it all, and it usually is used as the scapegoat for the whole game industry. To be honest, one game just can't bring a whole industry down. So the reason why the industry came down is because companies just try to make a quick buck of the gold mine of which is the video game industry. So that's what I think about that's what I think the video game industry can redeem itself to some extent. Have some backwards capability, take your time onto making games, and stop making bad games. So next time when you're grazing through Hyrule Field or visiting Riverwood from Skyrim, think to yourself, that would never have been possible if it wasn't for Nintendo single-handedly saving the video game industry.